Here's the video for day 36. It was a day to prepare for the midterm. So make sure you watch this video, especially if you were an A day who didn't meet, because only B days met on the 17th of January. Now, like I just mentioned, there's another bonus video for the midterm. Make sure you view that if you're in my regular classes. Now we need to explain the difference between direct control and indirect control. With direct control, the imperial power comes in and completely changes the form of leadership. They are now the ruling party. They make the decisions, they collect the taxes. There's no indigenous ruler completely in charge. In indirect control, they may keep a local person in the position of leadership. However, they're not really the one making the decisions. The imperial power is still working from behind the scenes, telling them, hey, these laws you have to enforce, or go collect these taxes. So it seems like the locals are still in charge, but they really aren't. So make sure you know the difference between direct control and indirect control. A trick to remember this, if you think of indirect control, they maintain an indigenous ruler, a local ruler. Look at the same letters that they start with, and it should help you remember which type of leadership is which. Indirect control, indigenous ruler. I've also been getting some emails about puppet governments. What is a puppet government? So here's a little review for what that is. In the last video, we discussed economic imperialism, where an imperialist power controls a colony's economy or their trade. A puppet government is a form of political imperialism. Here, the government of the local colony is appointed by an outside authority, or the imperialist power. So when the imperialist power takes over their government and puts certain people or institutions in charge, that's considered a puppet government. It's not really what the locals would have picked or chosen. And there's one thing from the Age of Exploration I forgot to put on the study guide. I forgot to mention Magellan. Remember, Magellan's crew was the first crew to circumnavigate the world. He died in the Philippines, but his crew did make it. So remember when the whole class stood up and spun around in a circle and said "Magellan like Magellan," to remember that Magellan's crew was the first to circumnavigate the globe? Just keep remembering that, or remember this visual in your head to remember that Magellan's crew was the first to go around the Earth. Are you getting dizzy yet? What about now? Maybe now. Well, just remember that Magellan and his crew, really not him, but his crew, was the first to circumnavigate. I've also gotten some emails about what do I need to bring with me to take the midterm. The first thing you need to remember is to bring a pencil, because there will be a Scantron and you're going to need a pencil to fill that out. You can write your short answers and essays with the pencil or a pen. You pick. The second thing you need to remember to bring is your brain. If you do not bring your brain, it will be very difficult to answer the questions, to remember the information, to remember your name to write on the test, how to fill in a Scantron, how to write an essay, where do I sit. It will make all those decisions and questions very difficult. I don't have any additional brains to lend, and I'll only have very few pencils.